Hi and welcome. My name is Jennifer Shuck, and I am the current chair of the Global Alliance of Speech-to-Text Captioning. I am a middle-aged female with curly red hair with black framed glasses, wearing a sleeveless turquoise top, sitting in front of a pale gray wall. And with me is one of our directors, Angie Fuoco. Angie, would you please introduce yourself?
Sure, Jen. Thanks so much. I too am a middle-aged female with a very Italian American last name, Fuoco. I'm wearing a purple shirt this evening, and my hair is brown and my eyes are green. And I'm so delighted to be here today and serve on the board of directors of the Global Alliance for Speech-to-Text Captioning. I think Jen is going to ask me some questions, but I will tell you that I work for the federal government. I have been working at various agencies for 36 years. I have varieties of hearing loss. I have moderate, severe, and profound hearing loss across both ears. And my favorite topic is captions.
And that is exactly why you are on our board of directors, Angie. You have an immense amount of experience inside the federal government, and we are thrilled to have you on our board. In your experience as a consumer and user of captions, can you tell me what are some of your biggest concerns?
That's quite easy, Jen, because I have quite a few concerns. One of my biggest is that captions themselves are not widely understood enough by all different kinds of communities. They're called different things. They're called CART, they're called captions, subtitles, those words on the text. They're other companies that use different trade names for them. Typewell is one. So when we use all these names, there's just not a lot of understanding of what it is we're talking about. Are they captions across the screen we can use on our cell phones, let's say, or tablets? Are they something we can use in the work environment? There's a lot of confusion there. The second, and I think because of the wide confusion about what they are, is they aren't used widely enough as an accommodation for those who need them and as an accessibility requirement when they are required. Third, is that they aren't enforced as that accessibility requirement when they are required, or even offered or entertained sometimes when they are requested as accommodation. And finally, I would say that captions aren't even known by the people who need them most. And that is a wide variety of users of many different kinds, which I can talk about later. But I will say the very first and foremost user of captions are people like me who've had adult onset hearing loss and have no other means of getting the spoken word in many situations.
Well, there is certainly a lot to unpack there, and I think we could talk about this for hours. And I agree with you on all 4 points. It is so hard for me to describe what it is that I do as a job. And my best description is, those captions on TV, I do that, but just not on TV. And it's that last piece that people just don't understand. And so I agree with you. It's really hard for people to understand that it is actually a service that is provided and in what scenarios it can be provided. And like you said, users of captions don't even know that they're entitled to this service. So can you think of one scenario where you have used captioning in a setting that most people would not even be aware of?
Yes, I can. Actually, during the first part of the pandemic, I was about to go do my usual blood donation and got a little bit concerned because previously, prior to, I think this was May or June of 2020, when I had gone to the blood donation center, no one wore masks.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, everyone from the doorkeeper on was masked. And I immediately tensed up over that, going, how am I going to hear these people? Because it's a pretty well-known fact, but not necessarily, that people with hearing loss automatically start to use that vision sense we have of reading lips to help us hear. So minus everyone's lips, I went, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So as I registered and started trying to hear people through these very opaque masks that I couldn't see through, I went, okay, wait a minute. I might have something that can help me in my pocket. And in my pocket was my cell phone with a captions app on it. And I had used it in other situations, just not in giving blood. So it took me a minute to think about it. Hey, I can use it here. And once I pulled that out, I was able to hear questions from the technicians, the phlebotomists, the nurses, everyone in there taking my blood. And it made my experience so much better when I said, will you please speak close to the phone so I can read what you're saying? And yeah, the successful pint of blood was given that day, thanks to me being able to read the captions on my phone.
I think it is very very misunderstood about the requirements for communication access in the medical setting, and that individuals are entitled to communication access, whether it's at the hospital, whether it's at the emergency room or a doctor's office, and that they do not have to pay for those services. And the Global Alliance has been doing some outreach in that regard, but I know we still have a long way to go. So first step, educating those who need the service to ask for the service. And then we have to educate the doctors and the hospitals and those who are required, like you said, to provide that service. Yeah, captions aren't well understood. How would you like to see that change going forward? Or how do you propose changing it going forward is maybe a better question.
Okay, and I'll back up from that question and give you my dream. My dream is always captions everywhere. Everywhere there's a face talking, because if I don't understand the cadence of that person's voice, the background noise is interfering, my instruments aren't just picking up clearly what the person is saying, I can get what sounds like Charlie Brown's teacher, a bunch of nonsense that really doesn't make sense to me. I hear sound, but I don't understand words. And the important thing is to get that understanding to my brain through my hearing aid, my cochlear implant that I use to hear. And all these things affect what is understood by a person speaking. So that's my dream, to have them there available anytime I do need them, because oftentimes I don't. But when I do, like I described in the new setting of masks and that entire 3 years that we were wearing masks, yeah, I just don't get it. So captions are an absolute must for those who don't hear at all, who, let's say, they've lost all and they don't have sign language as a language to use. They need to see that spoken word. And so I'd say that is my dream, and steps we can take towards getting there. I'd say to anyone listening today, join the Caption Quality Task Force that the Global Alliance has. We are trying to make inroads with this task force and to get a good set of quality guidelines out there, because there really aren't any. And so I support that with the Global Alliance. I also support us as a lobbying agency that we are allowed to do. And I hope that we continue to lobby even the government that I work for, that has some lack of understanding about the needs of people who need captions versus they might be a good thing. Because there are some of us, and many of us, in fact, for whom nothing else will work.
Absolutely. We have our work cut out for us because, like you said, there may be rules that require services, but they're not enforced. So we have much work to do to make sure that there is some enforcement behind the requirement. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Without you, there is no me. And I think together, as we all move forward, it will take a village. It will take all of us banding together. And I hope that if you're watching this, that you will come join us and help us push forward to make everyone be aware of captioning and all that it entails and how it benefits and the requirements behind all of it. Thank you so much, Angie.
Thank you, Jen.